Welcome from the Coesit Inn in West Warwick. I suggest you stop here on a Tuesday night, watch us film. Tonight we have Tony Estrella, the artistic director from the Gamm Theater. It's a highlight of my week to talk to you. I really appreciate it, stopping by the Spotlight Series.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Tell us a little bit about your role and your background.
Yeah, so, I'm the, as you said, artistic director of the Gamm Theater in Warwick, Rhode Island on Jefferson Boulevard. And I'm an actor and director and writer, have been for a very long time. This is my actually 20th season as the artistic director of the Gamm. Thank you very much. So I've been with the Gamm for a very long time, and I was about 5 or 6 years, even before 7 years before that, with the company as an actor. I also am I teach at the University of Rhode Island. I teach Shakespeare for the senior acting class. In the theater department there, and I've been doing that for even longer than I've been at the Gamm, so that's been a very, very long time as well. So, so I've been a theater and acting, professional just about my entire adult life since I got out of grad school a long, long time ago, and sometimes act in film and television as well. And so, the actor's life is a kind of gig experience, but I'm lucky to have a home base at the Gamm.
Are you the teacher that the kids at URI hate to get, or?
No, I don't think so. I don't think. From what I understand, they still very much look forward to that. It's the way the program works there is that their senior year, it's kind of builds towards that, and we focus on Shakespeare in their senior year for the BFA acting program. A very good program there, and it's a highly it's an more intense major because it's a BFA, which is a Bachelor of Fine Arts, which means they've got to take a lot more, many more classes in their major, than a Bachelor of Arts would. So the students that are in that program are very committed to becoming actors. So it's kind of almost a pre-professional training program.
And it's got to be really a joy to talk to someone in a classroom that has been there, done that, and still doing it.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it's certainly. I love teaching, and I keep it. It's the only class I teach, and I've made a commitment to doing that because it gives me an opportunity to continue to take class. Oftentimes as actors, I think after a while they think, well, I've learned everything I'm going to learn, and I'm just going to work. And I think working with students really keeps you honest and keeps you thinking about how you're doing what you're doing. And I as I often say, I don't think it's a cliche to say that I think I probably learn at least as much from them as I hope they do from me. So,
great.
Yeah.
And at the Gamm Theater, give us a little history of that.
Sure. So the Gamm is we're going into our 38th season as a company. It started in Providence in 1984. Went through several iterations in different spaces. There were a couple of fires along the way, and so some real estate change. I started with the company when we were over on Elbow Street in a very, very small 60-seat space across, as we used to say, across the street from the dog pound.
Yep.
And then we moved from there. I became artistic director corresponding with the move that went to Pawtucket. And we were in Pawtucket for 15 years. We had a great run there, and that's really where the company kind of became what it is today, that's where we professionalized and grew from, again, that 60-seat space in Providence. We got to 99 and then 135 in Pawtucket, and now we're at 185 in Warwick. And we have that kind of flexible space there at that where we are on Jefferson Boulevard. And we've graduated, and we have a really beautiful space over there. And
it is.
It's going to be a home, I hope, for a long, long, long time.
185 seats, and every seat is close.
Every seat is close. So that was the mandate, that we wanted to get to a place where we could expand how many people we could accommodate, but not lose the intimacy of the experience.
Right. And ticket prices are very reasonable. You have subscriptions as well?
Sure, yeah. Subscriptions, that's a really big, I think our most important audience is our subscription audience. And what a subscription is for us is that you can buy tickets to all 5 of our season plays, 6 if you'd like to come and see It's a Wonderful Life as well, which we do for the holiday. We've been doing for several years in a row now. But subscriptions are on sale now. It's the best way. You get the best seats, the best prices, and you really, we kind of form the season with the subscriber in mind, thinking that, hey, these plays all fit together in really interesting ways, and you'll only understand that story if you see all of them. And it'll cost you less if you come to see them. So I'm not quite sure of the math, but I think, basically by subscribing to all of them, you're buying. It's like single ticket prices for 3 or 4 of them, and you're getting 5 plays. So it's a really great deal.
And it's flexible as to. I personally have a preview membership, so I want to get in early and see the play, and it is a little reduced price.
Yep.
And then there's prime time, so you have a lot of great options for people that fit schedules.
Yeah, absolutely. For your schedule, kind of the day you like to come to the theater, it's very flexible, easy to exchange, and again, we cater to our subscribers very much because without them, we couldn't do what we do.
And you have a lot of volunteers that work there.
Sure, we do. Yeah, we have a great staff, but we also have volunteers who help with front of house, ushering, house management, and things like that, greeting the audience. And so anybody wants to volunteer, please give us a call, and we'd love to have you. And it's also, if you usher with us, it's a free way to see the show.
Nice. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about season 38, I understand?
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about what you have planned.
Yeah, well, as we're taping right now, and as soon as this taping is done, I'm heading back to the theater where we're going to start our first rehearsal of the year. So season 38 officially starts tonight. We have our first rehearsal for the play that we're opening with, which is called Describe the Night by Rajiv Joseph, who's a great young American playwright, the author of a couple of plays people might have heard of, Bengal Tiger and the Baghdad Zoo, which was on Broadway. It was Robin Williams' last Broadway show that he did before he passed, sadly. But he was fantastic in that. And we're starting with this play, Describe the Night, which is again, I want to emphasize Rajiv is an American playwright, but he's writing this play, which is very much about America in a lot of ways, even though, ironically, it chronicles in a crazy, thrilling way the 90 years of Russian history from 1920 through 1910, and through 2010, and all of the events and some historical figures that you'll know, including one of the really kind of powerful reasons to be doing this play today. One of the characters is the current Russian president, who is, of course, all over the news because of the last 6 months of war, in particular, that's happening in Ukraine. So it's an incredibly relevant and resonant play to what's happening right now. It's a thrilling play, despite what it may sound like in this description. It's also a very funny play, which finds a weird tone about politics and the absurdity of it. And I think it's going to be a perfect way to start the season. It's also about, information and how we communicate, and conspiracy theory and misinformation and fake news and all the things that we kind of talk about, and how we want to tell ourselves stories. But what is fact and what is fiction is a big question in the play.
Nice.
Yeah.
The second play is Sweat.
Sweat by Lynn Nottage. Yeah, one of the great recent American plays, Pulitzer Prize winning play, Tony Award winning play. It's set in 2000, a couple of time periods, but the earlier part of the 2000s in Reading, Pennsylvania, and it's about in a factory town, and the big main employer there is having some problems, and is some union issues, and there's some other issues that are putting people out of work. And it's a story, unfortunately, a too common American story about what happens when work goes away, and what happens to communities when work goes away, and how oftentimes economically, when economic crisis strikes, how that pits us against each other based on ethnicity, based on race, based on other things, and they're really at core economic issues in people's livelihoods, and how it can tear communities apart. And then, hopefully the play also offers a way forward in thinking about how we can bring them back together. It's a really, really a powerful new American play. I hope people will come out and see that, and it'll be the first time in the area.
Okay. I'm going to skip A Wonderful Life. We'll come back to it. Let's talk about Faith Healer.
Faith Healer, yeah. It's funny. I just got back 2 days ago from a wonderful week spent in Ireland. This is an Irish play by the great Irish genius Brian Friel. And this is a play about, as the title says, it's about an itinerant faith healer, which we have versions of in America, of course. It's a little bit different over there, but it's set, a couple of, 40 or so years ago, or 50 years ago, at a time when, faith healers would travel from town to town, and in a sense, people would come in with physical ailments, and the faith healer would attempt to heal them. So it's really faith healing as a metaphor for art and the artistic the transformation that can happen in an artistic experience, and the crisis of faith, in a sense, that the main character has, and it's told in 3 monologues. It's the beautifully constructed Rashomon-like story, has a little bit of a mystery at its heart, yeah, it's a fantastic and one of the great pieces of writing in the modern theater.
Talk to us about Bad Jews.
Yeah, Bad Jews. Isn't that a great title? It's so great. It's so funny. It makes me laugh right off the bat. It's by Josh Harmon, wonderful young American playwright, along with Rajiv Joseph, 2 of the really kind of great younger American playwrights. And it's kind of what the title implies in a sense, but that's being a little glib. It's a very, very raucous, funny, dark comedy. He wrote a great play that we did a couple of years ago called Admissions, which has kind of the same tones. But this play is looking at identity and looking at a family who's just young people in a family who are gathered together for their grandfather's, the grandfather, Poppy, has passed. And Poppy has left, was a Holocaust survivor who has left as part of his estate to his grandchildren a coveted tie, which is a symbol that's a gold symbol, jewel, and that the grandchildren are fighting over, and who it means more to, as one of the grandchildren who clings to her family identity very, very, very intensely, and her much more secular cousin who is kind of maybe putting it behind him in a way that she doesn't appreciate, and what that means as they fight over it. It's pretty incredible, gets pretty ugly, and very, very funny. Yeah.
And the children?
The children's going to end the year. It's a British play, actually, and Lucy Kirkwood has written what an incredible piece. It's a 3-person play set in kind of an unnamed town where you understand that there's been a catastrophe of some kind at a nuclear power plant, and some things are happening that aren't so good. And it's 3 advanced middle-aged characters, 3 characters in their 60s, 2 of whom are married and 1 old friend, all of whom are scientists at this place. And so it's very much a kind of a mystery about their past and how it collides with their present, and what our responsibility is to our children, especially with looming ecological catastrophe. And this play has a lot of, I don't want to give too much away, there's a lot of twists and turns and massive surprises, but an incredibly powerful play. Won many awards a couple of years ago, was on Broadway a couple of years ago, and was, for my money, the best play on Broadway that year. Did not win a Tony Award because a little thing called Harry Potter got in its way, but that's okay. Nobody can beat Harry Potter, but it's a really, really powerful piece, and kind of again fills out that story of all of the kind of resonant things that happen throughout the year. Of course, at the Gamm, we're always hoping to be telling stories that really matter to the way we're living now, and I think all 5 of those do in a great, great way.
And how many of these do you plan on acting in?
I'm going to be in Faith Healer, playing the Faith Healer in that. But I will be heavily involved in all of them. I'm directing Describe the Night, which starts tonight, and I'll be directing at least 1 or 2 of the other ones as well.
Good. Is it difficult to direct when you're in the play?
I don't do that. So, I think that I haven't had a piece yet. One play I was directing years ago, I was co-directing with another director, but I had another director I had to jump into because an actor fell ill and had to leave the show. So I don't know how I would go about directing myself. You need a camera, you need to watch it, and then really, you need that outside eye. So I try not to double dip if I don't have to.
Yeah. I would be afraid.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about what I consider the last one on the list, but it falls right around the holiday season. It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah, it's a wonderful adaptation of It's a Wonderful Life. That is, it's a radio show. It's a Wonderful Life done as a radio play. So the adaptation is unique. You get to watch this radio version happen live in front of you with all of the Foley sound effects. And Foley, for those of you out there who have never heard that term before, it's an old-fashioned. They still have them. If you stay the next time you're at the movies, if you stay and you watch the credits, you'll see Foley effects. And those are the people who put all the sound effects on. Everything you think you hear is being recorded live. It's not necessarily being recorded live. That footstep you might hear
creaking in the horror movie, someone's actually creating that. There's actually a person standing on a creaky board or making that happen, you know. And so that goes back to the radio days when we would have to, everything would have to be created for your ear. And so you get to watch that happen live. You get to watch this troupe of actors in a radio studio also do the commercial jingles, you know, also have kind of a lot of audience interaction before the proper show starts, and tell that beautiful story, Capper's It's a Wonderful Life, which was actually right after the movie was, you know, made, that Jimmy Stewart and Donna Reed actually did a radio version of it for the so that it comes right from that script, and is a lot of it is pulled right from the film, and it's a great way to kind of contain it and see a different version of it and make you listen to it, and if you think you know it, you kind of are able to realize it in a different way. It's joyous, it's incredibly moving. I've been in it myself as George a couple of times now, and it's always one of my favorite things, because at the end of the night we finish up, and that, you know, that the bell goes off and Clarence gets his wings and everybody's been put through the ringer, and you look out as the lights are fading and there are grown men crying all over the theater. So it's always my favorite.
You've seen me, huh?
I have. I've seen you crying out there. I'm crying, you're crying, everybody's crying, and you've had this incredibly uplifting and moving experience in that, you know, one of the great American films ever made.
I highly recommend it. It's the highlight to my holiday season every year.
Yeah, it's a wonderful way to get that holiday spirit. You know, you come in, there's a sing-along at the beginning, and you're getting these carols, and you're immersed in the story, and by the end you're crying tears of joy and happy, and it's you know, it's been a great tradition that we've created over the last few years.
And I know I'm going to let you run to get to rehearsal, but I just have a few questions for you.
Sure.
Get to know you a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll try to do a little tribute to the James Lipton style.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So the first one is, what's your favorite word?
Wow. What's my favorite word? Without getting too clever about it, this is going to sound odd, but I would say notebook.
Okay.
I just love the form of that word. I love a good notebook too as a thing, but there's something about that notebook, just like form and content, it's a strong word.
Okay. What's your favorite noise or sound?
My favorite noise or sound? My favorite noise, have you ever heard the call of a loon?
Yes.
Yeah. A friend has a place up in the Adirondacks that I've been fortunate to stay at a couple of times, and in the quiet of an early morning, you'll often just hear that loon sound, and it just brings me peace immediately.
If you had 0% chance of failure, what would you like to try?
Oh wow! My secret ambition is to find the time in my life and to write novels. I would write a novel, yeah.
And what job would you least like to do?
The job I would least like to do. I probably had the job I would least like to do. The job I would least like to do would be, you know, anything tedious. When I was a kid, I worked after school in the UVEX ski goggle and safety goggle factory, and it was piecework, meaning you just did the same thing repetitive all the time, and I used to put together safety goggles for hours on end, and I would never want to do that job again.
Okay. And lastly, if you could go back and talk to your 12-year-old self to give yourself some advice, what would it be?
Calm down. Calm down. Breathe. Yeah.
Right. Folks, if you're interested in the Gamm Theater, their subscriptions are available. Single ticket shows are available.
Absolutely, yep.
Go to the website. It's Gamm Theater, ending in RE.
RE, yep.
.org.
.org.
Or call the box office or stop by on Jefferson Boulevard.
Yep.
Tuesday through...
it's Tuesday through Saturday, I believe, but when the show is up, it's Tuesday through Sunday. The box office is open,
okay.
So you can come in anytime. Of course, you can call 401-723-4266 and talk to Drew or Brittany in our box office, and they'll help you with anything you need.
Great. Tony, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We need to let you go.
Thank you very much.
We'll be here in action any moment now.
Absolutely, yeah. About a month, we'll be up.
We'll be looking forward to it. I'll be there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.